Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get one of the hydroponic towers together today. I couldn't find all the bottom pieces that go on the bottom half of there, so I have one printing now. It should be done in about 10 minutes, and these are all the parts that I went and picked up from Lowe's yesterday, along with the bucket. This was the submergible pump that I had, and the adapter that came on it, but I needed a different size, so I got this double barb, and I'll put this on the grinding wheel and grind it down some so that this barb could fit over it, and just epoxy seal it so that it's airtight. And these are the pieces of the hydroponic tower that we put in the dishwasher yesterday, so everything's all nice and clean. And we'll go ahead and get it all together. Alright, and this wasn't completely necessary to purchase to do this. Excuse me. But they did have a wood, plastic, and drywall hole saw kit that was like $14. But it had the 3.5-inch hole saw, which is the opening that we need to cut there. So, you know, just to make it easier, I brought that, but you can just cut that out with, I probably could have just cut it with the razor blade, but if I do end up putting together a whole bunch of these, that would probably come in handy. And this is the hole saw setup. I got my Cobalt 24-volt drill, and I'm not sure if I could do this one-handed. Alright, and there we go. We got our perfect 3.5-inch hole. So I'll go ahead and clean all the shavings out the bucket, and then we can start mapping out our top and bottom plates. Alright, and then for the next step, I'm just going to make sure that this is centered as best possible as the hole. And then I'm going to pre-drill the holes going along, which I'm going to need both hands so I can hold that part steady. And then once I have all the holes pre-drilled, we get the bottom plate out the 3D printer, and we can nut and bolt them together and get a little clear silicone on there so that it's waterproof. Alright, so this is the part that we just printed for the bottom piece, and it'll go underneath the bucket lid and just act as a big washer for the nuts and bolts. And like I said, we'll get a clear coat of the silicone around this so that, actually I probably just need to get it around the opening up here up top, and probably put a little bit on the bolts. Alright, so now that I got all the holes pre-drilled, I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with a little layer of silicone around the opening, around the bolt holes, and then I'll try to get some over a little bit of this raised lettering. Alright, and it doesn't have to be anything super heavy, just, just try to get a good quality seal on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this lined up on top, drop all the bolts going down, and then I'll flip it over, put the bottom plate on, and screw down the nuts. So these are actually nylocks, so I'll probably have to get something to hold both ends while I can run it down with the electric gun. Alright, so we got the top part there. These are all stainless screws or bolts so that they don't rust, and then we can flip it over, and I'm going to take the flatter part of this, just get it, I'll have to use two hands, get it started on all the bolts, and then start running these nuts down. Alright, so that's that lid fully assembled. Everything is tightened down, they're locked. I got a little thin layer of silicone around the outside and around the inside. So we'll go ahead and let that get the last little bit of sunlight for today and start drying up. And I'm going to run inside and grind this down so I can get the two pieces together. and then we'll silicone those, get the pump in the bottom of the bucket, and get the hose and barb fitting and get them together. Alright, so I got the adapter grinded down, I got it siliconed and put together with the barb, the double barb, and I threw a little silicone right down on the seal where it's going to seal down into the pump. Alright, and like I said, I'll let that dry up, but we're going to get the pump in the bucket and get the hose so that we can go ahead and attach it, and then the bottom half will be ready. I'll have to cut a hole in the side so that the power cord could come out, but everything else was just about ready to go. Alright, so I used my little hole saw kit again, so that came in handy double time, and I grabbed the 1 1/4 inch hole and basically cut one in the front, one in the back, and that will just allow air to circulate and give me a place to run the cord out of the bucket. So I'm not sure if it was a great idea or not, but I did dab a little bit of the silicone on the bottom suction cups, so hopefully when that dries it never moves. And just try to get that as center as possible, and then now we could just measure the hose from there to what it will need to be coming up to the top. And on this bottom piece there is a little barb fit in there, so we can attach it, but we do want to try to make it long enough so that at least being right here it could still be fully attached. Alright, so I got excuse me, the hose cut. We probably got about 14 to 16 inches there. I don't want to attach it to the pump yet because I want the silicone to have a little while to start curing. So I'm just going to leave that like that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and press the bucket down, and then we'll start siliconing and attaching all the different pods and then get them screwed together. Alright, and then so once this is done, I will also silicone the barb where it meets the hose so that there's no leaks there. Alright, so these are the individual pods that will stack up and go. So right in the middle it has a little spout that's going to connect into here. So again, we'll silicone it so that it seals properly, and then it has little holes here that are going to line up with those holes. Now originally this was designed for heat inserts, but like I said, I'm going to silicone around the edges on the outside, and I just brought some stainless screws that I'm just going to tap in there and hope it holds, hope the silicone keeps everything nice and sealed up. Alright, so I got everything all silicone together, and we got the stainless screws ran in. I just switched over to a Phillips bit on my drill, and like I said, get it all sealed. Get it sealed on the lip on the outside, lip on the inside, and just make sure we get down in there and there's no extra goop, so that we want to be able to have a good water flow come through. So yep, I'm going to go ahead and get a bunch more of these on there and then check back in later. Alright, it's slowly coming together. So right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so we got to get up to 12, so we got 5 more to go. And I'm going to go ahead and just try to hurry up and get these together as we're losing sunlight. Alright, now, so I got the tower mostly assembled. It is a little bit more wobbly than my liking, but I'm going to go ahead. So this is the last piece. That's going to be the top. So once I get it assembled, this is the little diverter valve that's going to go It's going to sit down in the top, and as water comes up the main tube, it's going to splash back down, and basically this will allow it to trickle over all the pods as it comes down, and keep the roots watered. And then we just got one little cap that's going to go down over that, and then screw them and try to figure out a way to brace the tower a little bit better. I might have to put some pegs down in the bucket that support the bucket a little bit more, or maybe I don't know, but we'll figure something out for that. So there we go, we got the diverter plate in, and I'll just go ahead and get the cap on and get everything screwed together. Alright, and there we go with our completed project. Well, I mean, I still have to hook up the water hose and stuff, but I want to let it go ahead and dry. And so tomorrow we'll get some water in there, I'll hook up the hose, we'll plug it in and check for leaks and see how it makes out. But for right now, we got one tower that's almost ready to go. As you can see, it's a little wobbly, so I do want to try to figure out some supports for it. Alright, thanks for watching.